I need to move the pawn first. Oh yeah.
First queen F7, then king F2.
You said queen takes queen and then king takes F2?
So like so first white queen F7, then king wait, let me see, F2, right?
Yes, that's correct, except it's king takes F2. That's I know I'm getting what you're saying, but this queen takes, and then this king takes here. Because the queen is the one that's protecting the knight, and then if you remove the defender of the knight, then the king takes that. And then you have these 2 pawns in here. Yeah, okay. What about number 3?
Bishop captures knight c3.
Bishop captures knight c3. Yep, that is correct. Why? Because if bishop takes here, right, it's check, and white's going to take your bishop, right? But then you get white's queen. So that's, yeah, and once you get the queen, it's pretty much, you're clearly winning. Okay.
4's tough.
Yeah, 4, honestly, it took me a minute to get 4 too, but it was not that hard when I realized it.
Queen F7.
Queen H7?
Wait, wait, let me see. Yeah, it's queen H7.
No, that is incorrect. Queen H7 is incorrect because if queen here, then king comes down here, right?
Yeah.
And then if you say take with the bishop or the queen, then the queen can come here. And then if you keep on checking him, the queen will just, his king will just keep going down here and then escape. He won't be able to. Does anybody have any other answers?
Can it be queen h7?
No, someone just said that. No. Queen H7 is not correct.
Is it black's move?
It's white to play.
Bishop G6.
Wait, queen G7?
No, Queen G7 is not.
Queen g7 doesn't work. It's
Queen G7 is the same thing, right?
Bishop G6.
Yes, whoever said that, that's correct.
Yep.
Bishop takes to G6.
yeah.
The black king cannot move here, 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 or here. So he has to take the bishop. And then once you take the bishop, you move your queen to H5, which is checkmate. Because the black king is blocked out here, his only squares would be here and here, but those are regarded by the here. So yeah, sacrificing your light squared bishop is the correct. Last word. I'll give you guys a hint. Is it attack?
Is it bishop captures a2?
Yes, that's correct. Bishop captures a2, check, right? King takes bishop, rook takes queen. Okay. So now that we've gotten that in with, we will go over the king's Indian defense.
King's Indian defense. Okay.
Yeah, that is the opening for black.
Okay.
It is used.
Like, where did this originate? Just asking, just asking for knowledge.
I couldn't understand. Can you repeat that?
Where did this originate from? The King's Indian defense?
I'm not exactly sure. It might be from India because it's just King's Indian defense. I'm not exactly sure. I can search that.
Indian defense. Okay.
Yeah, it doesn't really say. Okay, yeah, this opening was mainly played by an Indian player, so they named it after a Indian. So basically, this is like a more of a defensive opening, but it's basically you're setting up your position for later on in the game. So it's mainly used to counter stuff like the queen's pawn opening right with d4. That's one of the main things it's used to counter. Okay, so d4 and knight f6. That's the first move of the king's Indian, knight f6. And then d4, right, the queen's gambit. Now you go g6. The goal of g6 is to put your bishop on g7, just call it fee and kettling your bishop, which basically means your bishop in the endgame will become really powerful because it has this open diagonal, which you can use to become really powerful. And then white goes knight c3, bishop d7, 4, and you go d6 to protect this pawn movement, and here you go all these. It's a good defensive and offensive because it unleashes your bishop, and you always have the potential of e5 and c5. So this is basically the entirety of the opening. There are many variations based on how people play it. Like I've seen when I've played, some people they usually bishop here, knight here, maybe bishop here, something like that. And they use the goal is to control the center. That's basically the main. Okay. So we have so there are some guidelines to make your position strong, right? As you can see here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did somebody have a question? Okay, guess not. So these are like 10 rules of chess. Not like rules, but like they're like good principles that you can follow. I learned these when I first started playing chess. I learned these, and these really helped me. Like even now, if I don't follow these principles, I lose pretty fast. Like I don't lose pretty. I usually end up. You have to follow all these rules. You gotta. Okay, so open with the center pawn, right? Center pawns are these two pawns right here, e4 and d4, right? You always want to open with these pawns because these control most of the center. If you control the center, that gives you like a lot of play in the game. You could be like the leading player in the game. Your opponent has to play defense the entire game, and no one really wants to do that. Okay. And then develop your pieces. So once you move your pieces out, right, you can start developing, right? You start developing your pieces. Defensive, right? You don't have an idea. All right, and then next rule is knight. We'll develop your knights before your bishops. This in most openings, you're supposed to do this, but not in all. Like the opening I play, I develop my knight before my bishop, but there are also many openings where you develop your bishops before your knights. But majority of the time, you'll develop your knight first. In the opening, you shouldn't move the same piece twice unless there's a good reason to. So, like, say in some openings, you move the piece twice as it's like a line. It's like a way you play the opening. But if it's you're not supposed to play it like that, and you do, that could result in you getting a disadvantage, and you don't want that because it gives you a higher chance of losing. You want to make as many few pawn moves as possible because that way you can get your pieces out faster. And once your pieces are out, you can get your king safe. And then that gives you more of a strategic game opposed to just a solid, you want a solid game, but if you move your pawns a lot, it doesn't really give you any attack, sort of, you know. There are openings that use more pawns than pieces. You shouldn't bring your queen out too early. That you can lose your queen really fast. Like, actually, when I first started playing chess, when my parents taught me how to play, My dad told me how to bring my queen out as my first move or my second move. Later on, I learned that that's a bad idea because he can easily stop that attack, and then he can get over capitalize on your queen out because your pieces can't fit properly in the game. Okay. Castle as soon as possible, right? You want to castle as soon as possible to keep your king safe. That's a rule that most of you probably already know. Play for the center. I already said that, right? You want to play for the center so that you have more domination over the game. Try to have at least one pawn in the center. Yeah, that like ties in with this rule. You want to have center pawns. That gives you a lot of control. And never give material without a good reason. That's probably one of the most important rules in here. And you can really get creative with this rule because, like I said, you in the puzzles we did or for the homework, we saw that bishop was sacrificed for the pawn, right? If there was no sacrifice, if there was no checkmate, then that was just a wasted move, right? You would lose your material, you'd waste the move, and it's just complete disadvantage. So,
Knight's blunder.
Did someone say something? The Google Classroom code. Let me see. Let me go to Google Classroom. I think it should be.
When are we gonna have the tournament?
Oh, the tournament? It's gonna be around like 5, I'm pretty sure. 5 or like 5:10 or sometime around there. Okay, yeah. He gave the tournament link in the chat. Aditya gave the tournament link in the chat. So you can just go ahead and take that. Okay. So next up, we're gonna learn about trapping pieces. Okay. So we're gonna learn about trapping pieces now. So these are going to be used for like tactics to trap pieces. So here the bishop is really not doing anything, but you see it's kind of blocked, right? Its own pawn is blocking it, and it only has what these 2 squares to go. So if you can eliminate these 2 squares, then it's trapped, right? So first we try to eliminate this square, h3, to attack the square. So now the bishop only has 1 square to go. And once it goes there, then you go here. Right now the bishop is completely trapped. It has to capture the pawn. Or he could let you take the pawn and then do that, but that's just worse. So now you just be up a lot. Okay. So here's a tactic. Without try not to look at this stuff, but try and find how to trap a piece. Look at this knight. Find a way to trap this knight. Oh, okay, that works. Okay. Yeah. You guys find a way to trap.
F4.
F4? Yes, that's a good starting move, right? F4 is a way to do it. So F4, right? Then knight has to go here, right? That's the only other valid square. Because then bishop takes here, and then knight takes. So now,
Can you do queen d4?
Yes, you could do queen d4. Here,
Yeah, but that's bad.
Yeah, queen d4 is bad because his knight can now get a discovered attack here. Knight can take here, which results in checkmate, or not checkmate, but he gets your queen because your knight moves out of the way. It's check, and if you take the knight, then his bishop takes your queen. So queen d4 is actually a losing move, a completely losing. So f4, all that.
What about bishop f4?
Bishop f4. Let's go back. Bishop f4. That really doesn't do much because his knight can still come here. So your goal is to trap the knight, not just make it move, right? So bishop f4 really doesn't trap the knight. So you're just going to move there, and then you take it, and he takes, and then the knight's safe. So we know that f4 doesn't work. Bishop f4 doesn't work.
What about move pawn to b3?
Pawn to b3? You could do that, but then once you do that, that's kind of a slow move. You want forcing moves because once you move to b3, then he can move to f6, or he can move his queen, and create a square for his knight to go back. So then basically kicking out his knight isn't as powerful as it was before because you don't win the knight. Obviously, it's still good, but you won't win the piece. So our goal is to win the piece.
Pawn F4 is the best move because wherever the knight moves, wherever the knight moves, you can take it.
Is a bishop F?
So right here, I'm pretty sure this is the correct move. Bishop takes b6. So let's go back here. This is the correct move. Bishop takes here. This bishop captures here. Why so? Because this, as we saw earlier, this was the guard. This was the guard of the bishop, right? Now, if we want the guard to be removed, then obviously we can just take here, right? And that doesn't free up any spaces for the knight. So watch, bishop takes b6, right? A takes b6. And then you can go f4. And now all those squares are trapped, right? Every square for the knight is trapped, so the knight's. And if c takes, right, knight can go here.
Knight's trapped.
Yeah, same thing. If knight has to go here, or he can just get taken, and bishop takes. So that's one way to trap it. Okay.
But isn't the black's bishop go to F4 even better?
Black bishop to f4. The dark square bishop?
Yeah.
No, that's actually not better because that's actually probably one of the worst moves you can make. Because if you move the bishop here, right? Let me just move the bishop here. And I move it here, and what that does is this knight just comes here. Now, if you take it, he takes, and now you don't get anything out of that.
Oh, yeah, okay.
You had a chance to win a piece, but now you don't win anything. So that's really not so good for you.
Okay.
So
What happens if you don't use your like knight for a long time? Like, what's gonna happen if you don't use a knight like for so much time, and then after it's like about to get pinned or something, then you move it? What's gonna happen if you do that?
I mean, you always want to keep your pieces active. Some pieces are like stationary pieces, like especially in like the King's Indian, like we reviewed the dragon bishop right here, the fiend cattled bishop. It's like a stationary piece. It doesn't move a lot throughout the beginning, but towards the end, it'll really like start moving around and capturing pawns and creating open spaces. So, I mean, it's not necessarily a disadvantage, but like if your opponent like thinks of it as a disadvantage for you and he starts like getting really good on his position, then that's not a good thing. But you always want to bring all your pieces into the attack, as many as possible. We're going to move on to X-rays. So X-ray is basically when a bishop, queen, or rook attacks or defends through one of the enemy pieces. So look here. So rook takes b7, right? The white bishop is defending the white rook through the black bishop. So you think this is a trade, but when the bishop takes here, your bishop takes there. Now you're up a bishop, which means you're probably going to win, right? It's 3 versus 3, but you're up a bishop, so you have a really high chance of winning. Okay, so find the X-ray in here. And this one was a bit.
What's an X-ray? Can you please show an example?
Yeah, right here, X-ray. Right here, look. So look, it's white to move, right? So white captures the rook, right? Did you see the white captured the rook? White takes the rook here. So then if black's bishop wants to take back the rook, he can. But then it's white's turn, right? White's bishop is attacking black's bishop. Black's bishop is completely unguarded. Boom. You're up a bishop, and now you're winning.
Can you show the exercise?
Oh, yeah, just a second. Okay, here.
The X-ray tactic.
So find the X-ray here. Now find the tactic.
Is it rook b6?
Rook b6. Let's see. I don't think so. No, it's not rook b6. No, I don't think it's rook b6.
Is it rook c5?
Rook c5? No, that doesn't actually do anything.
No, c5.
Yeah, you mean rook to here?
Wait, it's white's move?
Yeah, it's white's move.
Oh, okay.
Is it bishop to b7? I mean b6.
b6.
I mean, sorry, b7.
b7. Bishop can't go to b7. b7 is right here. Your bishop's here. Bishop.
I mean, bishop to a7. Sorry.
Yeah, bishop to a7. I guess. I mean, like if you go to bishop to a7, he can just take back with the rook, right? And then if you take, he takes.
And then
No.
and then you just get
Yeah.
get a queen.
Yes, that's what I was trying to say. So that I'm pretty sure that's the correct thing. Yeah, bishop a7 check. Rook takes a7. Rook takes a7. King takes a7, and then
Queen. See?
yeah. And if king decides to not take, right, then it's the same process. You still take. And then you actually don't even have to take the rook here. Right? If he takes with the king, you don't have to take the rook here. You can just queen immediately and it's checkmate. Next, we'll move on to, I actually do not know how to pronounce this. It's like Zwischenzug or something. Zwischenzug. I do not know how to pronounce this. But it's like an Indian.
Zwischenzug.
Yeah, it's kind of.
Zwischenzug.
Yeah, it's a strange.
Zwischenzug.
It's not Zwischenzug. It's Zwischenzug. Is that what it is? I don't know. I think it's Zwischenzug is a good way. I don't know. I have no idea how to pronounce.
Okay.
Let's call it Zwischenzug.
Okay. Well, Zwischenzug. So basically, it's like in between or an intermediate group. So so right here, queen takes d3, right? So black just took white's pawn on d3. Our first instinct will be to take the pawn, but that's not always the best. To take the queen, I mean, that's actually not the best move always, because you can actually do this move, which forces the king to move or the rook to take, right? If rook takes, then his queen is completely unguarded and you get a free queen. But if he decides, if instead of taking here, you take his queen instead, then he has to take your rook, right? And then when he takes your rook, you take his rook, and then he takes you. So that's why queen takes here is not such a good move, because it just results in a draw. And we don't want draws, we want wins.
What if black moves his king instead of taking the rook?
Yeah, I was about to get to that. So now king h7, if instead of taking the rook, he goes here, then what happens is rook takes d8. Now it's an x-ray, right? The white queen is guarding the rook through this queen, and vice versa, right? The rook is guarding the queen through here. So black basically just lost a whole rook, and now black's most likely going to lose. Or better yet, you don't have to even take here. You could even check here and cause a fork because it's protected by the rook. So that's also another option. But we want an X-ray looks cool. So okay. All right. Next, that's the tactic. So find a tactic. So it's white to move here, I believe, or is it black to move? Okay, it's black to move. Yeah, never mind. Is it black to move? Okay, yeah. So after queen takes d2, what's the best move? Actually, I don't think that's how you're supposed to go by it. Take c7. Oh, okay. Okay. So yeah, fine. It's not necessarily winning the queen, but you can go by it. Yeah. Knight to e7.
Knight to e7.
Yeah, knight takes e7 is.
You just did that.
Yeah, I know. I was a little confused. So knight takes e7 is the move, right? King moves over, and then you take the queen. So basically, in that overall exchange, you win a pawn. So yeah, that's just a little advantage you get there.
You win the queen either way, right? You win the queen either way, right?
Yeah.
You can win the queen without getting captured.
Yeah, I know, but if you do that, then it's a little bad for you because then he takes here, you take.
Yeah, you can win the queen without getting captured if you do 90s.
Okay, so let's move on to Zugzwangs. Zugzwang is a position where every move you can make is a bad move. So it would be better to like skip your turn, but you can't skip in chess. So we see that the bishop is pinned here. So but the bishop can't move. So the king has to move, and the king only has one square. The king has one square, but it's actually white to move. So since white is always going to be doing the same thing on this file, white can just make a spare move, right? Rook a8. It doesn't change the position. And then black has to move. Now king has to go to h8, and then rook takes f8, checkmate. So no matter what black did, he had only one move, which would lose. But in a lot of cases, most cases, you have multiple moves that lose. And you have to find the right move for most every move. Okay, so here it's white to move, and you need to find a move that causes black to be in a Zugzwang.
White to move?
Yeah, it's white to move, and you need to find a move that causes black to be in his Zugzwang.
King F4.
Would it be KD5?
King F4.
No, you cannot do those because King F4, the pawn is guarding it, so you can't capture. King
Oh yeah, I forgot.
King D5. Oh,
King-
wait, yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't work because the pawn is guarding. See right here, white only has
You
one.
can either move the king to d3, or you can move the pawn.
Yeah, someone just said
A3.
pawn to a4.
A2.
Pawn to a4 is correct.
Yeah,
Pawn to a4 is correct. Right? Because now all of black's pawns are trapped, or they're at least like stopped. They can't move. Now black's king must move. Now black's king, just say king e7, right? Now you're gonna take this pawn, right? Then black king say moves here, right? And you grab this pawn, right? And now you're just gonna come over here, take this pawn, and then you have 3 pawns advancing, and then you're off. So let's see. Now that we've gone through those. Okay, let's go back to So we're going to learn about interference tactics now. Interference tactic is basically when you block an opponent's file, rank, or diagonal first with your piece, and then second with their own. So right now, the d2 pawn right here is being stopped by the rook for promotion, and the h3 pawn is being stopped by the bishop on c7. So we're going to have to find a way for black to promote at least one of his pawns. So bishop d6 is the first move, right? You're blocking the thing with your what do you call it? Your piece, right? Your piece. And then say check, right? Rook check. Checks, then king b5. Then rook b8 check, right? Trying to win the knight. And now you're guaranteed one of your pawns promotion. Right? If he takes your bishop, you go here. And if he brings his rook over here, and you say, oh yeah, you promote this pawn regardless. He can't stop this. And then instead of checking, if he went here, he took your bishop. Now watch, it's blocked. The square that this is going to is blocked. So it's not possible to stop here because then h2 and then a6 check, right? Rook a6 check. And then king b5, rook b6, king c5, right? Now no checks are available, and then he'll queen, one move queen. Because if you stop here and you queen this, you stop this, you queen that. So you'll queen one of those pawns. So that's doesn't really matter what you do. It's queen. So find the interference tactic. It is white to move, and white is threatening checkmate. So find a way to create checkmate. Checkmate. Yeah, it's checkmate.
Queen to G7.
So I have a bishop to E5.
No, I think the answer is Queen to G7.
Okay, queen G7 and bishop E5. Okay, I see two moves. Okay, so what was your move again? Queen E5 or bishop E5? Or
No, Queen G7.
Okay.
What's wrong?
So if queen takes G7, bishop takes G7,
Yeah.
bishop takes, then what will you do next?
So you have to move this pawn up here. Like, and you have to move pawn to B3.
No, you can't do that because the bishop's pinning the pawn.
Yeah.
So that's not the correct move. So let's look at bishop E5 now. So bishop E5, what would happen? Either rook, bishop, or rook would have to take, right? So if either rook takes, then queen here checkmate because it's blocking the bishop that's protecting. So if you go here, bishop has to take. But then once you take with the bishop, your queen can take this thing down, this rook down here with check because the rook is no longer protecting the other. So with check, and then king has to go here, and then queen. Let me just go back to so bishop E5, right? So now either rook takes, it's checkmate. So bishop has to take, or bishop can also check, right? But then bishop takes B2, and then it's just losing from there. So bishop has to take. Then you take, like I said, you take the rook, and king H7, check, and then king G8, and then rook D8, check. Queen E8 has to block, and then rook takes E8. And if king goes H8 instead, then rook D8, queen E8. Oh yes, same thing. Same thing regardless.
Why can't you just capture that?
Capture what?
So like when the king is in H7, why can't you just never mind.
Okay.
Yeah.
So next, we're gonna do overloading. Overloading is happens a lot in games. I've actually lost a lot of games through overloading. Overloading is where one of your pieces is doing too much, right? If your piece is doing too much, your opponent can take advantage of that and make you lose material. So we see that the queen is guarding both rooks here, and both rooks are being attacked. So if one rook takes, queen takes, and it will be a trade. So H4, right? If we want to do H4 to kick out the rook, then rook takes G1, rook takes G1, check. That doesn't help us. It just does. It doesn't, right? It's just trading. Now, if rook take, and then instead of playing H4, we go rook takes B8. Then rook takes G1, check, right? King goes up, rook, queen takes here. Right now, black is winning, and you don't want that at all. That's check, right? If queen has to take, queen doesn't have to take, but then you just lose a rook regardless. So queen takes, and then rook takes B8. So either way, you lose a rook. This is find the overloading tactic. It's for checkmate. It's a check.
Is it for black or white?
No, it's always white. Whichever orientation it's in, it's white. Like if we're looking at the screen and it looks like you're sitting with white, so that's the orientation. So whichever orientation it is, that's.
It's rook takes H5.
Rook takes H5 is correct. Rook takes H5, King G8, Rook takes H5. You want a rook, right? But if Rook doesn't take it, if this Rook takes, then Rook D8 checkmate. because of the bishop blocking that square. So either you can be down a rook or get checkmated. Okay, so the next one is going to be removal of the defender. The removal of the defender is where a piece is defending something, but you're going to remove that. It kind of explains itself. Yeah. So the knight on e8 is defending checkmate, right? It's defending this pawn. That's checkmate because the queen and the bishop are both checkmate. So what you can do is you can sacrifice your rook to capture the bishop, get rid of it, and it's check. It would be checkmate if these two pieces were here. So rook has to take, and then queen takes g7. So find a removal of the defender tactic for this. I don't know if this is checkmate. No, I don't think this is checkmate.
Knight.
Knight e7.
Yeah, knight e7. That's what.
Knight e7? Yeah, knight e7. Let me see.
Wrong. No, it's rook to g5.
Rook takes g5?
Yeah.
Correct. Rook takes g5 is correct. Because what happens when you do rook takes g5 is, see, you want to go knight e7. Your goal is knight e7 is correct. But with knight e7, you're forking the king and the queen. But there's a bishop in the way. So what you do is you take g5, right? And then the pawn takes, and then you go here, and then king moves, and then you win. So your guys' goal was correct. You just need to go one step further and get rid of the bishop.
Can you go a little bit back? I need to ask something.
Yeah. Should I go this section or the previous section?
Not this section, but can you go like to the first move, like
Yeah.
in the. Yeah. What if like the king does like the king instead of like so the pawn take? What if the king moves?
Right here, just the king moves now.
Yeah, like to I think 8-7.
8-7. If the king just moves to 8-7, then the rook would probably. I mean, I guess you do have a point. Rook, you could do that, but then what happens there is you can attack with your knight here, even if it's on h7. The queen's under threat, right? So then the queen is going to move somewhere. Like say queen moves here. I'll just show it to you. So if king moves here, knight here, right? Queen just moves here, and now you can move your rook here. I guess this is probably the best move with your rook. And now you keep your knight safe. Your rook's not in danger. Your knight's not in danger, and you're off piece. So yeah, either way, you're winning. So on
What
this,
if the rook goes to g7? The white rook.
the white rook to d7 when?
G7, not before, but the knight was still at f5. What if the rook goes to g7?
Okay, yeah, I see. Yeah, rook takes g7 here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not a bad move, except that really doesn't give you anything after this move, right? King will go here, and you really don't have anything after this. I mean, it's a good like threatening move, right? But see now your knight's in danger. You have to move your knight, but then when you move your knight, your rook is taken. So you have to probably like do something strange, like knight takes here, sack your rook, and then like bring your queen over. This isn't such a good move in my opinion. It wouldn't be so good. But if you play it out right, you can win. So next, we are going to go over, we're going to do some, you guys want to do mate in 1 tactics and mate in 2 tactics, or you guys want to learn how to checkmate with a rook and a king and then 2 bishops?
Can you do mate in 2 in the beginning of the
Okay, so I see some mate in 2 puzzles here. Okay, here they are. Okay, so we're gonna do some mate in 1s. Okay, so okay, that's pretty obvious. Okay, find the mate in 1. Find the checkmating move.
Queen
Queen to e7. Queen to g7.
G7.
Yeah, that's easy.
That's
really
obvious.
easy. All right, now find another. Find the move now.
Queen g7.
Yeah, queen g7 again.
Queen G7.
Yeah, again. Queen to h7.
Queen h7?
Yep.
Queen to h7.
Queen to h7.
Mate in 1 again.
All right, this is the last mate one. The rest will be mate and twos.
Queen to G. Queen to G5. Queen to G5.
Yep, queen to G5 is correct. Okay, so next is going to be a mate and two.
Mate in 2.
In twos. For white.
I think
So
bishop,
it's
bishop
rook to
F7.
G.
Bishop.
Rook to G7.
G7. Bishop
Rook to
F7
G7.
Bishop
Rook
to
to
G7.
and then queen G7.
Is it bishop to G7?
No,
Yes.
it's rook to G7. Rook to G7.
Bishop
Both
F7.
can work. Rook
Okay.
or bishop to
Rook
G7.
to G7.
It can be bishop to G7.
No, bishop to G7, and then rook's gonna take the bishop, and then that rook is gonna attack.
No, it's rook to B7.
Bishop takes G7 is correct. Why? Because
Yeah.
bishop takes G7 check, rook takes G7, and then queen
Now
takes
the queen
G7.
Queen takes the rook.
Yeah, queen takes rook and it's
Queen
check.
takes
Checkmate.
rook and is protected
Before
by
black
the
does checkmate, we
It's the
do.
exact same thing. But what if rook takes G7?
All right, this next puzzle.
It's
There's
white
actually-
to move.
There's two moves here actually.
Champ.
Is it white to move again?
It's black to move, and there's two moves for check.
rook takes F1.
F1.
Yeah.
F1.
Rook takes F1, yeah.
Yeah,
And then queen takes
Queen takes F1.
yeah, you have two moves. Rook takes F1.
no, rook takes F1 and then rook takes and then queen takes.
Yeah.
And queen,
That's
you can also do queen takes F1, because when queen takes F1, rook takes F1. Rook takes F1 is also check.
Those
And we have a few more mate and two.
Save a line.
Trying the mate and two.
Is it white to play?
No, it's black to play, I believe.
Whatever's in the bottom.
It's black to play.
queen to C6.
That's the first move, yes.
And then it's rook to E1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because queen takes
Queen to C6.
And
Check.
then rook to
Then the queen has to move. That's rook to E.
rook to E1.
Yeah, checkmate.
next one.
Rook to E4.
No, I don't think that's correct.
Yeah.
Rook to E4 is not correct.
Wait, is it black to play or white to play?
Yeah, who's
Black.
Knight to C6.
Wait, actually, I think yeah, it's gotta be black to play.
It's knight to C6.
Knight to C6. Okay, that's the first move, right?
Yeah.
Let's see. No, it's actually not knight C6.
Is it F6?
Actually, it might be correct, but I think you first need to use it.
Is it knight to D3?
I think we might need to use it with something. Knight to C6, and then rook to G6.
Knight to D3 is correct, but which this knight or this knight?
This knight.
No, one that is at B.
The knight that's in the left.
The
The knight,
B4.
the knight this knight, right? Knight on F2.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, that's correct. So the notation for that would be knight F3 check. Right? Knight F3. King has to go to F6 and then knight.
Oh.
Smothered me.
One more.
Wait, but couldn't the king? Can you go?
Or pawn takes the knight.
I went back. What did you need?
So can you go?
What if the pawn takes the knight? That's
You can't take the knight.
Can you go back to the beginning?
oh yeah.
So couldn't have the right knight go to the right sided knight go to C6 and the rook go to G6?
Well, let's see about that. If knight goes C6, king doesn't have to go here. King can go here,
Oh.
right? Yeah, king can go there. It doesn't have to go there. It's not forcing. But this move is forcing because you can't go here. right? That's a key square. You can't go here. It's blocked out here. Can't go here because of the pawn. You can't go here. You have to go here and then knight there. Check. Okay, so last one.
Oh,
Right.
you want to argue?
Find the last.
Queen takes rook.
Queen takes rook. No, I don't think that's.
That's not
Rook.
right.
No.
Queen takes rook cannot be right.
It's pawn takes pawn.
Pawn takes pawn. I don't think so.
Whose move is it?
It's white to move.
Okay.
Oh, is it bishop a3 the first one?
And then queen takes rook. Bishop to
Yeah.
a3 and queen takes rook.
No, bishop to a3 is not. It's not a forcing move.
Yeah.
It's not a forcing move, right? He can block it. You want something that's forcing.
Is it rook takes g6?
Now, I thought of rook takes g6, but then what happens with rook takes g6 is then this pawn takes, and then the queen will be protecting the checkmate square. So I don't know.
Rook c6.
Rook c6. That doesn't do anything. The queen just actually. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's the good. I think that's the winning move. Yeah. It's actually not. Queen g7 is the winning move.
Yeah. Queen g7.
And king takes
Yeah.
Rook f7.
checkmate. Oh yeah, this is checkmate. Because yeah, see, queen g7 because king has to take, and then rook takes here because it's double check. There's a bishop checking and a rook, and you can't block both at the same time, and you can't move your king either. So what you said here before, with the rook here, that's a good move. That wins the queen, right? The queen has no other move but to go here, and then you take, and then you're threatening checkmate already. But that way, the other way is faster. It's more forcing, right? This one, they both take the same amount of moves, but then he has to like do something like he can stop it a little bit, right? He can do that, and then you go here.
What if it was rook, the white rook before?
Okay,
Checkmate.
all right, we'll move on to checkmating with a king and a rook. Okay. So how to checkmate with the king and a rook? You want to checkmate with the king and the rook. You always want to have the rook attached to the king with a 1 square difference. So first of all, you want to cut off as many squares as possible with a move.
So do
Right,
we
so
have
rook
to
is-
to the all the way to the side, like to the last square?
Yeah, you want to get the king to the corner and then checkmate him. So first, you go rook h4, right? Cutting off all these squares over here. He has to stay in this zone. King f5, right? And now you bring in the king, right? King g5, and you can go rook a4, or you can move your king up. So now, and then king goes back, and king f3. So now this is called opposition, where the kings are in front of each other, and they can't advance. They have to move side to side. Now, okay, so then king e5, right? King g5, rook b4. You want to waste the move so that the king has to move back. King h5, king g3, and there's a lot of repetition. So it's really a lot of repetition. The goal is basically to get the king to this the end, right? This I personally wouldn't play this way. This way is the way you're supposed to play. So after king e5, right, we moved here, and then rook h4, then king d5, then king e3. Okay. Okay. Well, the way I play is here. I go rook here, and king here.
That's better. That's how I play it. I played that too.
Yeah, here. I was taught this way, so I just go this way. Here, and then king can go back here. See, now you're limited all the way down here. You're limited here, here. You go here, and then you just waste a move over here. He goes here. You can go here, and then you check. Yeah. Okay. So now we are going to learn how to checkmate with 2 bishops.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay. So,
Good.
okay, right. Okay, so checkmating with the two bishops is kind of similar, right? You're gonna first you have to create a barrier, two bishops, slowly limit the blocking squares, and then you bring the king in. So bishop d2, right? Starting move cuts off the line right here. You can always come to the light.
Fastest chess blitz tournament.
Bishop f3, right? He has to. You're trying to eliminate squares as much as possible. King e3. See now, look, this perfect bishop movement. He can't come in front of your bishops, so he's kind of trapped. He has to come all the way around. But by that time, you get your king in, right? So he has to like stay in these squares. King f5, king h2, king e5, king g3, f5. Now bishop f4. That limits all these squares right now. Now he has to go back. King e6. Again, you see the same thing. Walking the squares so that you only have these two in this pyramid kind of thing. d7, d7, bishop e5, bishop king e7, bishop e5. Right, same thing again. You're having those two lines. You're blocking the king squares as much as possible. d7, f4, king e7, king f5, king d7. But now we wanted our bishops here, but we can't do that now because then the king moves here. And once he does that, we basically wasted all our moves trying to do this. And remember, we have this something called the 50 move rule, right? We can only move 50 times. So we want to do this as fast as possible. So we waste a move, right? King e4, king e7, king f4, king d7, king f5, king e7. Called triangulation. You move in a certain pattern, you get the king back. Now you go bishop e6. Now he's here, right? He was here before, now he's here. King e8, bishop d6, right? Traps with only two squares left. And then you have to get the king to the corner. King e5, king e6, right? Triangulation again. You go back, right, to cut the thing, cut him to this side. King e8, bishop c7. That limits this square right here. These two squares are gone, so he has to go here. King f8, king bishop d7 limits this square as well, so he has to go here now. King g8, king g6, king f8, and now you can deliver forced mate. Bishop check, king g8, bishop check, king h8, and bishop check, checkmate. Okay, that's it for today. Does anybody have any questions about anything?
No. Checkmate.
No.
No.
No. Can we do
No.
a tournament?
Hmm?
They do a tournament?
Yeah, I have to ask Aditya about the tournament.
No, we do like can we?
Can we do it on light chess?
Yeah.
Well, the problem with light chess is it's like more of an arena style tournament. You guys should get experience with like actual tournaments, like official like USCF tournaments where they play a Swiss system. So I have to see.
Go to live chess and then go under the tournaments tab and click on peer-to-peer level 2.
Are we going to live chess
the
or
link.
chess.com?
Hey, Nikhil, can you show them?
Yeah, I'll show you guys. Okay, I'll show you how to do it. All right, so
Where's the link?
all right, so there's no
Chess or chess.com?
chess.com. Okay, chess.com. Right. Go make a new tab. Go to chess.com.
Chess.com.
Right.
Chess.
Now, once you get here, I want you to hover over the button play, right? Now, click here where it's, if you have a, it doesn't really matter, you can click either of these, but click live chess first. Just go ahead and click live chess.
Peer-to-peer level 2, upcoming tournament.
Here, you go to tournaments, and then you should see something called peer-to-peer level 2. I'm not in the peer-to-peer level 2 group, I'm only in level 1. But you can see something called peer-to-peer level 2. And you can go ahead and join that.
Join. Actually, what's the problem with live chess again?
Wait, what are you supposed to do after you hover over the play button?
You just hover over the play button, hover over it, or click it, doesn't matter. And then you click live chess.
Okay.
Go to live chess. And once you go to live chess, you go here to this tournaments. And you should see.
Oh, when I gotta play live chess. When I go to live chess, it says sign up to start playing. It's free.
Okay, then that means you need to log in. You need to log in with an account. You should have created a live.
Do lead test.
I have a account. How is account login करूँगी?
Lead test.
Mama,
Can we do lead test?
करूँगी ना. Chess.com में.
Hey, what's the problem with lead chessing?
Can we do lead test?
No, I mean, you can't do lead chess because we already have a tournament set up for chess.com. And the problem with the problem with lead chess is that lead chess is an arena style tournament where you just play the next open player. That's not how you do normal chess. Once everyone is finished, you're supposed to get paired with another person who has the same amount of wins as you. And it's a way to it's a way to get experience, right? So it's better to play here. So he just sent the link to join the club if you haven't already. So I am just gonna join that.
On tournament started.
All right, I'm in. Okay. So let me just go back and check my All right. So I see the peer-to-peer level 2. It's starting in 3 minutes. How many? 9 people are on so far, right? We have 24 people on here. Minus me and Aditya, that's 22. So we should still see a lot more people. You guys only have 2.5 more minutes, so join pretty quickly.
Now 10 minutes.
How do you go in?
Did you go to chess.com?
Yeah.
Okay, so you go to chess.com.
I joined.
I can't hear you.
Okay, so once you go to chess.com, go over to play. Right, you see where I'm hovering over to play?
Yeah.
And then click this button called live chess. Right? I'm
Okay.
gonna click it with you. So now what comes up is display. It would bring you up to here, right? Are you on this page?
Yeah.
Okay. So now right on the top right, where do you see where it says tournaments?
Yeah.
Click that.
Okay.
Now do you see where it says peer-to-peer level 2?
Level 2 or level 1?
Level 2.
Level 2. Okay.
Yeah, click that. And then click join where it says join.
Okay.
I also pasted a link to join the tournament in the chat. So
Yeah.
Live chess.
Oh.
But it says to like sign up.
Yeah, so you had to create a chess.com account. If you did, you have to log in with that. If you didn't, then go ahead and sign up now. You have less than a minute left, so if you can't do it in time.
No, do I have to click the link? I already logged in with my chess.com.
Yeah, if you logged in, then are you in the tournament?
Yeah.
Then don't click the link again. Just stay on the tournament.
Okay, I don't need the link. So should I leave the meeting?
Can you give some extra time for the people who didn't log in?
No, I don't know how to do that. We can't really do that now. But you guys are gonna miss the first round. There's 2 rounds, so you're gonna miss the first round, but you guys can play the second round for those who haven't logged in.
Okay, thank you.
Starting at 10 seconds, so you guys.
10 seconds.
7, 6,
6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Tournament starts.
All right, tournament started. You guys have been paired, so good luck. Oh yeah, and if you see my screen, you guys should see the standings page, but if you go over to the checkered board, you should see all the games. And if you finish the game, you just click one of these and watch people.
Gambit.
No, the tournament. And